I really use it so that the parents have access to me, not just to send something out, but to make sure that they have a means of communicating with me and a lifeline to the school. It's not just about the next announcement. It's about making sure that my parents are able to participate in their students' education, their students' middle school education. And that's really important to me because I want to not only advocate for my students and not only teach them self-advocacy, I want to allow my parents to be able to do the same thing. So for me, it's a lot more personal than just sending out an announcement here and there. It's really, do they have a way of communicating with the school? Do they feel like they have a connection?
I think it created this sense of welcoming, that bilingualism is an asset to our students and to our school community. I think a lot of times we see English language learner families that are hesitant to either, show that they speak in their language or to continue speaking it and teaching it to their children. And when we have families that will come to us and be so excited and so relieved that they are able to communicate in their own language comfortably and effectively. So I feel as though going forward into the fall, when you're reaching out to new families, when you're reaching out to the families that you've worked with before, that when you make that first step in their own language, you're building that trust. And I think that's the first step for a strong homeschool connection. It's just so key to helping families feel connected to the school and feel welcome and feel valued. And for me, that's the biggest change we've seen in families, is when we're the ones that reach out, when we make school not such a scary place, we're really getting a lot back from families and we're getting a lot back from the kids. So I feel like everybody's more, there's more buy-in, there's more excitement about school, there's more excitement about sharing who they are at home.
But people do not ignore that text message, and one-way communication was like the path of least resistance in the past. Two-way communication in distance learning is an equity issue. Our families are the unpaid, most important staff member you now have at your school site, and they need to feel prepared to support their child. Someone that says, I don't know how to do this, it will manifest in a bunch of different ways. Really, they just need the supports, and if you can get it into them in their language, in their hands, it's really an equity issue from the outset. I see these text messages from the school, and I only get them when my kid is doing something wrong. Like, we're doing it wrong. You have to make sure that teachers and dean's offices are putting out that proactive support of like, hey, your kid rocked it this week. And you can do that fairly easily with Talking Points, so that when you do have to say, hey, your kid has not been engaging, it's a little easier to get them in.
So, the beauty of Talking Points is that it's short, it's quick, it's efficient, you can get a quick response. I do a lot of front loading at the start of the year, and I will go to our register system, which by the way is another good feature of Talking Points, because you can have multiple contacts, which is really useful because sometimes, that one number is invalid or whatever, so it's good to have that multiple contacts. So I'll do that in the front end. Now there's probably a better, more efficient way of doing that, like if it's in an Excel file, you could probably just copy it over. But I don't mind investing the time at the start because the payoff is so great during the school year. It's just so easy. I've had a lot of positive feedback from parents as well, just saying things like, hey, this is such a good idea, thanks for using this as a method of communicating. That was really encouraging for me, and it's something that I intend to continue using. It's really helped me as an educator.
When communication broke down, like the counselors would say, oh, they're not responding to my emails, or none of the phone numbers work, I'd be like, yeah, I'm in the same boat. But once Talking Points came to me, then I was able to connect with parents a lot more effectively. A counselor reached out to me saying, I haven't gotten a response from this parent. And I said, oh, well, I don't understand why. She responds to me all the time on Talking Points. What do you want me to ask her? And I asked her, and she responded in 5 minutes. So, those are a regular occurrence with talking points.
First of all, if everyone was using talking points, it would change the culture. It wouldn't be a one-sided culture. There would be an expectation that everyone understood to include everybody. Rather than expecting the parents to figure out how to manipulate the system. Our parents come from a lot of different backgrounds, and their experiences with education oftentimes are very different than the American experience. And so to assume that education means the same thing, or that all parents are able to navigate the system the same way, is not fair. And it bothers me when I see that not being taken into account. A lot of times our students and parents are kind of on the sidelines and not really a part of what's going on, and they get left out because, oftentimes messages go out in English, those types of things. And it's kind of frustrating knowing that, that they could be missing out on being part of what's going on.